Time for another coffee with Kilroy, or what I sometimes call beverage in a book. My beverage, well, you know what that is. And my book, well, this is something a little bit different. A lot of times I cover game books. Sometimes I cover military history. Sometimes I cover wargaming history, or the history of wargaming, how, the development and strategy and tactics of wargaming. And I have some more books on that to cover, but this one is kind of an amalgamation of a lot of those different things. This is Michael Breschloss's Presidents of War, the epic story from 1807 to modern times. I picked this up in a bargain bin. So this is part of Kilroy's, got a little bit of thing there, part of Kilroy's bargains. And this will be on that playlist. So I'll probably find it on my political playlist. But at its heart, it's about military history, or at least a unique perspective on military history, and that is through the eyes of American presidents, or at least not necessarily through their eyes, although there's a part of that. But it's focusing on, I believe, like 9 U.S. presidents and the wars that they fought. Now, you might recognize the name Michael Breschloss. He is, I believe, the NBC talking head presidential historian. Each of the networks have their own presidential historians, and he talks on NBC a lot, or it's kind of their that's kind of his gig, so to speak, when he's not writing books. And the reason I picked this up, not only because I found it in the bargain bin, but also because this is interesting. He's generally a good writer. When he talks on TV, I generally agree. Find some of his points of view interesting and validating of some of the topics that he's talking about. So, part of my background, if you've watched my channel over time, you might know that one of my degrees is political science, and there was kind of 3 main areas that I focused on in political science. One was campaigns and voter behavior, and another one was law and justice, which led to was kind of a precursor to my law degree. But the campaigns and voter behavior also went into the presidents and presidential politics and presidential history and stuff like that. So presidents have always been somewhat of an interest of mine. So combining presidents with war is always a unique opportunity, or always something that I'm going to probably gravitate towards. Now, what was his basis for this book? It says in the foreword here that, or at least in the foreword, but also in this little jacket cover, because that's where all the real information is, right? That this was 10 years in the making, and that he also, he used original letters, diaries, declassified documents, and his interviews with surviving participants in the drama allowed him to bring this kind of new narrative, so to speak. And so so you do get some perspective, or the eyes of the president, through these diaries and documents that might have not been disclosed before. Also going into some previously classified or recently disclassified documents. That adds a little bit more narrative here as well. There's been some criticism of this, as I've, let's look at the back so you can see the picture of the guy there. There's Michael Breschloss there. There's been some criticism that he's not really bringing a whole lot new to the table. There's over 600 pages in here, and a lot of it is, it kind of reads like a history text, right? Also, his writing is not as direct as I generally like. He'll go kind of around the topic a little bit to get to the point. But having said all that, I found this interesting. I found his takes on some of these conflicts and the presidents relatively interesting. I learned a lot of new stuff. Not that it is new to the world. There's like some talk here about the fact that Westmoreland wanted to use tactical nukes, and it's kind of a groundbreaking. Well, there's been a lot of talk about some of those, or references or allegations of that in other works out there. So, but I didn't. For some people, this might be the first time they've got into some of these conflicts, or at least these presidents and their conflicts. We start with the war. We go into the War of 1812. You get the Spanish-American War. So, this is in this, and then goes all the way up to Vietnam. So, I mean, you're getting, and of course, you go through the great hits like the Civil War, of course, and the World War I and II. But this kind of reads more kind of like a survey type, in a survey course in history of these presidents and their wars, but done at in a very much kind of a narrative and somewhat at times verbose style. So I liked it. I found it. I mean, the fact I picked it up at the bargain bin, it was worth the price. But there's two investments here. You got to buy the book, but there's also the investment of time to get through it. And this is not, as you can see here, this is not a skimpy book, but I found it worth it. I found it worth it to kind of go through the different the different areas and learn a little bit about it. My only other kind of criticism of this is the way it's kind of laid out. You don't have, you just can't turn to, let's say I want to read about, it's not done by the president or by the war. And now it's done in chronological order, but there's several chapters on the same conflict. He's just focusing on different aspects of it. I kind of would have liked to have it, a little bit more laid out in, here's this president or here's this war, and then getting that perspective. Again, that would make it even more of a textbook style, right? But this is kind of a hard slog to get through in one setting, and so I would have liked to I want to read about World War II, or read about the Spanish-American War, and kind of you can go to that with these areas, but this is kind of meant to kind of flow as you read the whole book in order. So anyway, that's just me. I find his writing fine. I find the insights interesting and the way he portrays it. Again, sometimes there's a little bit of kind of taking a little bit of time to get to the punchline on some of these things. But then again, I mean, he's taking you along a journey and you're learning the history along the way. But anyway, so I'd recommend this if you're interested in the American presidency, if you're especially interested in the American presidency and how it deals with war. Or at least have this unique perspective. I mean, this is based on his research and his pulling history together. Then I'd recommend this. You might not agree with everything that he comes up with, or he might not be coming up with everything. Everything he comes up with, it might not be super new or a revelation, but I don't know. I found it interesting nonetheless, and well worthy of being covered on my wargaming channel. So there you have it. As I said, it covers, there's quite a bit on Vietnam in here. There's Spanish-American War. Again, it starts off with the War of 1812, and when you get, you're going to get Civil War. Now, that's probably the area where you're not going to get as much new there as you would other sources, but again, the perspective here is kind of looking at it through the lens of the presidency and how they interacted with people and who they sought comfort or advice or counsel or solace from during their moments of trials and tribulations of dealing with these major conflicts. Anyway, so that is President's War. Let's look at the back there. You got all the black is all the big, this is wonderful and insightful and awesome. But, they always have that on the books, right? Anyway, there you have it. President's War. I thought I'd just do a real quick, take a look at that, just picked this up at a bargains bin, got through it, and I don't know. I found it interesting. I found it good. It's kind of hard to. It feels like a reference book, but it's hard to refer back to. How about that? How's that for my summary? Anyway, enjoy your coffee or whatever you're drinking. I hope you're enjoying it, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching.